And good afternoon or good evening, Randomizer fans. We are back with another race in the 2019 Link to the Past Randomizer tournament. We have game 2 of this match between P-Train and DIVISIGNS. I am your commentator, number 1, Cool Papa Bell 2282, and alongside me is Hammer Bro. How are you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing great, man. It is another day, another rando race. So as long as my my randomizer itch keeps getting scratched, we're just gonna be having a good time. How are you doing today?
I am doing great, and I am excited to see this race. I heard some crazy things happened in the first one, so this should be a fantastic match between these two.
Yeah, the lesson for the last race was maybe not Dark Magician.
Yeah, for those who didn't see it, the runners were about 10-15 seconds apart when they went into GT. P-Train went the wrong way and found the big key a little bit later, but found silver arrows along the way and wound up about 5 seconds behind DIVISIGNS on finishing off the Ganon fight. So about as close as a rando race can be, just coming down to those choices that they made in Ganon's Tower at the end.
Yep, that being said, P-Train did make a small adjustment to this race. If my memory serves well, we are going to have an Uncle Assured Sword.
Yeah, and actually not even Uncle Assured. In V31, Assured Sword means you start with a sword. So we see that on both of the trackers there, as our runners both start out in Sanctuary.
Awesome, that is a change I was unfamiliar with. Cool, I need to play more V31, looks like. But anyways, we already have a little bit of divergence, as P-Train is taking what most would class as the traditional route, and gonna grab a bunch of big 20s from that bush crab. Tree's pulling more money, not nearly as lucrative as the bush crab, so gonna ignore that and just pull this sucker out, grab maybe 100, 120 more rupees.
And meanwhile, DIVISIGNS heading straight into the Lost Woods and finding our glove at the mushroom spot. And I believe that was just 5 rupees on the lumberjack ledge.
Yep, nothing to worry about this go around.
So no bombs as of yet for our runners. P-Train has plenty of rupees to buy bombs if he needs them, but DIVISIGNS, making use of those gloves and finding a bomb under that first rock there. Winning the coin flip on that one.
That's a 50-50 rock. I did not even know that one existed. That is an awesome piece of knowledge to just casually have. P-Train skipping Kakariko. Okay.
Yeah, and that's a rare one to use because it's just so rare that you're going to have gloves when you even walk past that rock. So knowing that it's there is really good knowledge from DIVISIGNS.
Flute and ice rod and mail. We got something else blue here? Nope. Going with a piece of heart.
Man, just nothing feels better than finding the flute in Blind's hut.
On the flip side, though, none of those were bombs, so DIVISIGNS is going to end up having a bit of a decision here. Go into the well or not? Well, he doesn't have enough money for bombs, so I guess it's going to be a drop into the well and just hope there's some bombs sitting there. Mirror from the uncle. This is so far loaded. Another sword, but still not enough money for bombs, and still no bombs. So this could get interesting on DIVISIGN's side.
I believe we've also seen all 3 shields already, because P-Train just found one in the Uncle Passage, or DIVISIGNS found his second one in the Uncle Passage, and sorry, had it right the first time. P-Train found one in the Uncle Passage. DIVISIGNS found his second in the well.
This is crazy. We have a 3-minute duck unstucking for DIVISIGNS. It's going to be a little bit later for P-Train. So at this point, we are, ironically enough, hoping for either bombs or money here. Hey, there it is. We can buy 10 bombs.
I think that well spot is one I wouldn't mind terribly leaving behind. You know you're going to come past here again in the near future to head to the Dark World, probably, but I would suspect that with the bombs now, we're definitely going to see DIVISIGNS clear out the rest of the village.
I would actually be kind of surprised to see DIVISIGNS leave it just because it's one of those locations that you never have to worry about. Oh, that's kind of insult to injury right there. P-Train grabbing half magic, though, so this seed continues to be stacked early on. But yeah, you are correct. We are leaving that one location in the well and the bottle vendor, although that's not really a choice that we have at this point. So hopefully either there's nothing there or DIVISIGNS will remember and get to it when next appropriate.
Yeah, shoutouts to our tracker, by the way, in chat, GFE, reminding us also that with the flute, it is going to be very easy to get back to anytime they run out of other checks. DIVISIGNS can definitely head right back there.
That is a fair point. Yeah, that really, really early flute makes things a lot easier just in general. I'm not gonna lie though, this really early Master Sword that DIVISIGNS forgot that he had, hey, that's nice, mitts. Okay.
Okay, 5-minute mitts. That's a thing, I guess.
Yeah, so I was going to say the Master Sword early kind of makes me a little nervous out of the potential Aghanim, but then we pulled mitts and a hook shot in the back here and the hammer. All right, so let's just call go mode in 10 minutes the way this is going.
What is this seed? Oh my gosh. The runners have to be thinking to themselves right now, like, okay, we're going to get 12 items right away, and the last one's going to take forever to find. Also, the book, a little soggy, since it was under the water until just a second ago, but...
You know, I think the funny part is that right now our runners have completely and totally different items, so neither of them is going to fully understand how loaded the seed is until they kind of retrack over each other's steps. Because right now, to either of them, the seed seems, I mean, moderately loaded, but not ridiculous. It's just the fact that we've seen both Escape and Kakariko that makes us go, wow, this seed has the potential to be really fast.
As P-Train has decided to sequence break Dark Cross here. Just finds a heart piece in that chest.
Master Sword making quick work of those mini Moldorms. DIVISIGNS did see that our bush crab is absolutely loaded, and I imagine there was an eye roll or some similar amount of distaste upon seeing that, and then he would have realized, you know, could have saved him a bunch of time beforehand in Kakariko routing.
And P-Train is opting to put off Kakariko even a little bit longer. This is the sort of thinking where you really want to find a bottle, probably, or maybe even is hoping to find the Moon Pearl, because then he knows at this point he would have Dark World access before his first trip to Kakariko.
The interesting thing, though, is that if P-Train does end up getting the Moon Pearl or something similar here that would lead him towards Village of Outcasts right afterwards, we might have a situation where P-Train doesn't immediately check the race game that has mitts. And that could be an intriguing little routing shenanigan there.
Yeah, that's definitely true, because he might be planning on getting that while he's down for a digging game if he's going to head into Village of Outcasts right away. That is an interesting point.
And, of course, Bottle Vendor giving us bombs, because why wouldn't he?
I'll just say right now, if this is the Moon Pearl in the back of the well, I'm going to lose my mind.
Yeah, well, don't lose it yet. We still have a bit of a race left, and it wouldn't honestly surprise me at this point. Thank goodness. Alright, your mind is still intact for the time being.
Whew, good to know.
The somewhat amusing part is even though we have all of these items, we don't really have a whole lot that's unlocked. We do have the entirety of the mountain with that flute. But other than that, we're starting to run a little low here. I imagine we're going to be finding some other stuff.
Yeah, I would suspect we'll see both of our runners retread the ground that the other one was just on, as DIVISIGNS is heading into the back of Escape here. And then the mountain will be calling to both of them once they have Hookshot and Hammer and Mitts.
Which is interesting, because in that scenario, P-Train might even choose to just break up the mountain before going to Kakariko and getting the flute.
That is true. That would be an option. As we get a map check there. From both sides, we got a red crystal on Eastern and then crystals in the other two Light World dungeons.
So far, we're just kind of continuing on with the theme of potential jet seed here. It does look like P-Train is going to head into Kakariko, though, from the south side, which means we will almost definitely get a race check, and P-Train will walk into Kakariko with Mitts.
And an interesting choice from DIVISIGNS here is fluting up to the mountain right away before checking the front of Escape and Uncle, which is not that bad of an idea. He's got the Hookshot and the Hammer, so he can clear out all of the light world of the mountain, but that means he will not have the mirror if he finds if he finds the Moon Pearl up here on the mountain. That'll sort of slow down his Dark Death Mountain routing a little bit, not having that mirror. Not too much of an issue, though.
Yeah, having the Hookshot and the Hammer will basically give him access to pretty much everything either way. It just means he's going to have to be a little more cognizant of his checks as the old man gives us the flippers, because why not?
It had been a solid 30 seconds or so before we found an item, since we found an item, so it's a good thing we fixed that.
Yeah, at this point, we're going to be concerned with Go Mode here in a minute. We might have a Go Mode Moon Pearl. Actually, that is a distinct possibility, especially if we get the Fire Rod up here somewhere, because we do have the potential of Mire and Turtle Rock both being pendants. Oh my goodness, there's the bow.
I mean, I don't know what else I was expecting.
I mean, so at this point, tentatively, what's our Go Mode stuff? You know, we're definitely gonna need the Fire Rod, or I guess almost definitely. The lamp wouldn't technically be a requirement for these runners. We're gonna need the Moon Pearl. Potentially medallions, obviously.
But there is a chance...
Even that's not certain.
Yeah, I was going to say, there is a chance that if we had both Turtle Rock and Mire being pendants, that we would not necessarily need any medallions or the Red Cane.
We could legitimately be looking at Fire Rod, Moon Pearl as our Go Mode items right now.
Or if you just make Skull Woods, the would just be Fire Rod or Lamp, since we would probably need a fire source at some point.
Yeah, there are a bunch of dungeons that have the potential to be fire locked. And given that Desert is a crystal, we're definitely going to need a fire source of some sort.
Ah, yes, definitely a fire source.
But yeah, we are potentially staring at Go Mode without even getting a Dark World map check at this point. Be careful here. And absolutely no health, so this could end up being a terrifying seed in a different way than usual.
Right, if you just tuned into this, you could be forgiven for mistaking this for a spoiler run, where you just run straight to all the items and then finish the game on, 4 hearts.
Alright, so everyone grab your cheese and quackers. The duck is unstuck. Actually, we have an item set that's interesting. We could have the Moon Pearl at this point at Checkerboard Cave.
Yeah, that is definitely a concern, and that's what P-Train is thinking right now, since he has that mirror. Getting mirror and mitts this early is a big old red flag for that Checkerboard Cave.
All right, so medallions are, or rather, the pendants are going to be Skullwoods, Turtle Rock, and Mire. So you were correct. We might have we might literally have a Moon Pearl Go mode at this point.
Yeah, we are Lamp and Moon Pearl from Go mode right now, which is ridiculous. Meanwhile, DIVISIGNS showing off the new tech of the Harapot glitch there to get upstairs without going to the basement for the big key.
P-Train double checking that Bombos requirement. And it looks like we are going to get a checkerboard check. This would be hilarious if this were the Moon Pearl. Oh, chat pointing out maybe boots, but hey, guess what?
All right, so there's boots. P-Train might head straight into Desert Palace with those, although again with no fire source just yet.
I mean, at this point, you're right here. You might as well at least check them, in my opinion. I do not know if P-Train will agree.
Yeah, I think so. Again, with that big red flag that there's progression in Checkerboard Cave, when you find something that unlocks a couple of checks right here, it's definitely worth running in as far as seeing what's on the torch, grabbing the big key, and so then you can just come back and finish off Landmo whenever you want to.
Hey, there is our Moon Pearl inside Spectacle Rock.
All right, so it looks like DIVISIGNS making the right choice there, where P-Train chose to head to the desert area. Again, not a terrible idea, because he's clearing out some of Desert Palace that we're going to have to do eventually anyway, but DIVISIGNS will be the first runner with access to the Dark World now.
Although, honestly, the fact that DIVISIGNS is now going to have access to the Dark World could be a trap. If we have a fire source somewhere here in the Light World, then P-Train could potentially get a Moon Pearl straight-up Go mode, which would basically eliminate a lot of locations that P-Train would have to check.
Yeah, and there's also the factor that DIVISIGNS is still missing that mirror, which is just hanging out at the Uncle, which he's not going to be super excited to check, I don't think, at this point.
Yeah, that Moon Pearl may have been a really, really unfortunate pickup.
But yeah, 16 minutes in, and all we need for Go mode is some fire. Either Fire Rod or Lamp plus Fire Rod or Bombos to get us into Ice Palace. I guess
right.
Lamp plus Bombos or Fire Rod.
I honestly hadn't even... Oh my goodness.
Okay. What is even happening in this seed right now?
You know, I've made a complaint a couple of times that the vast majority of the races that I com here in the tournament are just terrible, awful, horrible seeds, and it seems like I'm getting the other end of it all at once right now.
This is completely absurd.
This might legitimately be close to a sub-hour seed, if not a sub-hour seed, depending on where our fire source is and how quickly our runners continue, do their full overlap of what the other has. We do have a vanilla Quake for Turtle Rock, which hopefully will not be needed.
And yeah, a question in chat about the Fire Rod room in GT. It's possible that the Fire Rod is logically required if the big key is on the right side somewhere, as DIVISIGNS finds the red cane in Hookshot Cave. You can sequence break it with just the lamp, even if you don't find the fire rod, but the logic will not require that. And then the upstairs torch room you can do with either fire rod or lamp.
I'm not sure what... Okay, DIVISIGN's doing a triple check of that Quake medallion, which is kind of interesting. And we did have a bomb burst requirement for Meyer, which, you know, is just as fun.
And yeah, not surprisingly, DIVISIGNS is going to head straight into the Dark World at the Hype Cave entrance, as P-Train going to pick up his flippers here off of the old man.
This seed is absolutely insane. So at this point, P-Train is also going to be grabbing their Moon Pearl. But we'll just be missing yeah, either the lamp or the fire rod. We just need an actual fire source that can light things.
Hype Cave pretty much guaranteed to be garbage because there's not much good left to find. Just some health and bombs.
Honestly, I wouldn't rate it too harshly given what we already have and the fact that we have no health. I'd give that like a 2 or 3 out of 10 given the circumstances. Those hearts are nice.
And P-Train showing us the hover skills to get out of the Spectacle Rock Cave there.
Alright, so P-Train specifically at this point just needs the bow, which because of all the locations and items we found, I have no recollection of where that is. Stumpy giving us red mail, which is awesome.
Bow is in Paradox Cave, so that'll be coming up pretty soon for P-Train.
Yeah, so at this point, at 20 minutes, P-Train has one impending item that we know he's going to grab in just a couple minutes here, and one of 2 that are required that are on the loose somewhere. I cannot wait to get these runners in for an interview if we're doing one after this race. If P-Train does win this race, there will be a Game 3 that's scheduled right after this one. I believe its scheduled time is like 6:30. But given how this race has started at the very least, they could very well choose to start it quite a bit earlier. But yeah, as I was saying, it would be an absolute blast to get these runners in here and see what they have to say about these items.
I mean, just what are you even thinking at this point about this unbelievable seed that you've gotten?
I mean, if you're P-Train, you're thinking, hey, I'm going to clear every crystal dungeon I can, and we're just going to hope that I run into lamp or fire rod on the way. That's what I'd be doing. I'd look at it and go, okay, I got 30 minutes. Let's finish this in under an hour.
We saw P-Train also Harapotting, and I believe he found a single rupee in the chest on the main floor of Hera here, and 3 bombs are going to drop off of Lanmo, so we will not have to visit the basement today for that big key. Not Lanmo, Moldorm.
You know, one is 1 annoying worm, another one is 3 annoying worms. I could see the mistake. Yeah, at this point, DIVISIGNS definitely kind of getting trapped into the dark world here. Got a bunch of stuff, so that still is really nice, but could be problematic. Gonna need that mirror at some point.
Yeah, and he's probably thinking along the same lines that he's going to want to tend toward crystal dungeons since he can complete so many of those. About the only thing that's not open to him without the mirror is Swamp, but he can do a lot of other stuff and is going to hope to find the mirror along the way before he gets back to front of Escape, I'm afraid.
Yeah, at this point, I would presume... fetch quest. Wait, did DIVISIGNS pick up that mushroom?
I am not sure if he did or not. Again, that might have been the issues with not having the mirror, that the way he routed the mountain is, I believe he hookshotted over, climbed up, went over to Hera, and might have skipped Spiral Cave on his way back out of Hera.
That's interesting. It's unlikely at this point to be a problem, given that we're looking for one of two items, but Rando might have it. And I think right about now, P-Train is looking at his inventory going, wait, hold on. What?
So a little bit slow on the health at the start of the seed, but DIVISIGNS is up to now 8 hearts and red mail, which is gonna be plenty for these runners.
Yeah, not necessarily the most ideal, especially in tournament circumstances. Sometimes you can get a little bit of a little bit rough with your execution based upon pressure and how you're feeling that day, but definitely going to be manageable for runners of this caliber. P-Train with 5 hearts and blue mail, though. Oof, missing a clip here.
Yeah, he nailed the hookshot clip in the dam earlier, but just missed that one, unfortunately.
Yeah, this one seems to be a little more annoying since you have to kind of stagger it. You know, with 5 hearts and almost being in go mode, it wouldn't too terribly surprise me if P-Train decided to grab that full heart on the floating island.
Yeah, that definitely is an option. It's a pretty quick trip while you're already here.
It's like an extra, I don't know, 45 seconds or so for, 5 hearts to 6 hearts. I don't know if he'll choose to do it, but it's something I would at least consider, given he's much better at this game than I am. And the Bacon Blade, honestly, that is another awesome grab. Nope. Leaving that full heart where it is, so P-Train just got up to 6 hearts. Alright, so at this point, I think we go Pod and Eastern, just to kind of get it out of the way. Those are 2 of the easier dungeons. You could very, very easily clear those with 6 hearts. But it looks like P-Train is heading into Village of Outcasts, so looks like we're going to get a... I would honestly be surprised at this point to see P-Train go into Skull Woods at all. We're just going to get Village of Outcasts area and Thieves Town itself.
Yeah, it looks like he's heading for the standard Dark World loop. He's gonna, I would assume, just do Thieves Town and then run south around to Hype Cave. Yeah, Pod Eastern would be pretty tempting to me as well, just because there's a lot of items over there. We can full clear 2 crystal dungeons, although they aren't in logic yet. So maybe P-Train is thinking, I just want to find the lamp, so I'm gonna stay away from any lamp locked checks, even though they're not an issue to sequence break. The lamp would put him in go mode at this point.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I can definitely see the logic in that. Also, it'd be really, really nice to go mode Pod, depending on where that big key is. That could make that a really fast dungeon.
Yeah, go moding Pod is not something you have to think about too often.
Yeah, but it's fairly easy. Got the big key, got a small key. Okay, go. Oh, and there's our lamp. P-Train's going to be in go mode in just a couple minutes. Oh my goodness.
And I don't mean to alarm anyone, but we might have to burn Cyclone for being a witch, for calling that in chat about 2 minutes ago.
You know, it's not the first darn thing he's called. I swear he's got a little bit of witch in him, at least. Maybe some seer or oracle.
So I'm just going to point out that we might see a seed here where P-Train never even thinks about going to Sahasrara. Neither of our runners has been there yet, and I don't think P-Train is ever going to have a reason to go.
We also have the potential of not ever having any flipper checks done at all. At this point, I do kind of hope the P-Train does grab, I believe, 2 full hearts over in Hype Cave. That would be worth it. It obviously wouldn't surprise me to see P-Train just skip Hype Cave altogether, but that would end up being worth it, I think. Meanwhile, second crystal on DIVISIGN's side. Really nice blind fight there. Oh, come on. That bomb collision was terrible. That should have blown it up.
I normally only see bomb collision that bad in Mini Moldorm Cave, but apparently it can happen there too.
Alright, so it's not going to be a sub 30-minute go mode, but it'll be a sub 31-minute, I believe. Or at least a very near it.
And as Chad is pointing out, this is assuming that P-Train does know how to bomb jump the right side of GT in case the big key is back there. I would suspect that that's something in his repertoire. I'd be willing to bet on that.
That wouldn't terribly surprise me. It's also a situation where that particular requirement is, I don't know, what does that lock? 4 items? And that is probably going to officially be go mode. Again, not technically, because that fire rod might be required for stuff, but I think P-Train will be able to work around it. DIVISIGNS is going to be doing the Pod Eastern combo, but still does not have that mirror, so it's going to be slightly more annoying to do so. Making use of that fire shield once, so that's at least a useful item pickup there.
Yeah, very clean blind fight from P-Train right on script. And yeah, P-Train is going to basically go mode every dungeon in the game. He did check one extra chest in Tower of Hera that he didn't need to beat it, but this is a ridiculous seed, and P-Train found the right route, getting that mirror right away, which is going to be a big stumbling block for DIVISIGNS, unfortunately.
Yeah, that could very well end up spelling disaster right there. Grabbing the Moon Pearl last could definitely be problematic. Looks like we're going to get a go mode swamp. Blink and you'll miss it.
Yeah, it's sort of P-Train's choice what order he wants to do the dungeons here, so he might be thinking Swamp has some good places to grab health and a decent number of items that you can pick up along the way even in go mode, so he might be wanting to do this one next as one of the easier dungeons to get done. He is definitely going to miss out on that red mail, which was on Stumpy, I believe.
Yeah, that is correct. That's something he's definitely not going to be grabbing. Again, another reason I kind of hope that he stops into Hype Cave just for the heck of it. Because if I remember correctly, there were like 2 1/4 hearts there, which would come in handy at this point, staring at only 6 hearts in blue mail. For those of you in chat who either stepped away to do something real quick or just blinked, go mode was just before 31 minutes. P-Train found the lamp in the big chest of Thieves Town. And yeah, at this point, I completely, totally agree with you, Papa Bell. It would be a situation where I would basically take the dungeons that I'm most comfortable with and do those first, which is, so I would actually have gone Pod Eastern prior to Swamp, but Swamp's also fairly easy, and then Pod Eastern, just get those out of the way. And then you really just need to do Desert and Ice, and then you can just climb up to Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, I would be pretty tempted to do Eastern first out of all of those. Of course, Flute to 5 and then mirror back to Eastern, just because Eastern Go mode is sort of not a thing at all, so you're going to check all the chests in there anyway. And then if you find some health along the way, that informs your decisions in the other dungeons, but it's pretty much a toss-up at this point for the order in which you do all of these dungeons.
So actually, in this regard, the big key for Eastern was fairly early. It was in the room that you can hookshot across to. So P-Train could potentially check 2 chests. I don't know if they're going to grab, if he'll find that big chest we were this time. Most likely. But probably going to grab, only technically really needing to open 2 chests in Eastern even. So the layout has been friendly.
And it looks like P-Train is not thinking about opening chests at all. He's already skipped the map and the compass chest in Swamp, so I would bet we won't see the flooded room either. Oh, no, he is headed down to the flooded room. So 2 checks here for the price of 1.
Probably rolling his eyes at that one. That was not a terribly friendly room there. Yeah, okay. P-Train at this point might just get aggravated and choose not to check anything at all after that.
He opened 3 chests, and 2 of them were map and compass.
Well, yeah, and the other one was a shovel, which is not going to get used this game. So it looks like we might see Sahasrara's closet. This could be intriguing.
Holy crap. Well,
like... That, holy cow. That first stage was arg-annihilated.
I was going to say, if you want a Zero Cycle Argus tutorial, there it was. That was ridiculous. So question in chat about how you do that. So what you have to do is you have to dash through the door, hold down the sword button, and then you get in this weird sword state that I don't fully understand. But you're basically holding your sword out, and you just keep hookshotting over and over and over again. And if you get the right rhythm, you can just burn through those eyeballs just like P-Train just did. That was a clinic in fast Argus fights.
Yeah, so basically how that works, so what you need to do is you walk in with the dash holding down your sword, and then you essentially have to do a hook dash, which you can perform by hitting the hookshot button and the dash button at the same time. And then at that point, you just continue holding down the sword button and hit hookshot every time a puff dies, and you can just continue hookshotting like that. Obviously, it's a bit more difficult than that because you do have to kind of strafe left and right to make sure that you're getting all of the puffs as you do run out of them. But it is absolutely ridiculous to do, and P-Train just annihilated that boss.
And you have to really get the timing on the hook shots right, I believe, because if you get it off, then all of a sudden you just screw up the glitch state and it doesn't work anymore. I've played around with it a little bit and failed miserably at it, so...
And P-Train thankfully did check Hype Cave, so now up to 9 hearts, probably feeling quite a bit better at this point. With high execution, there's always, these runners are probably feeling pretty good in general, but it's always nice to have a couple extra hearts just in case you have a room in the gauntlet or something that goes haywire.
Yeah, because P-Train is on 0 bottles still, and he is unlikely to find one, so he's not going to have any potions or anything as backup, so he will definitely not regret going in Hype Cave for those extra hearts.
Oh my goodness, the big key in Pod is really early too. This is going to be absolutely ridiculous.
And let's keep in mind also, P-Train has cleared out the front of Desert, so all he's going to have to do is flute over there, mirror up to the ledge, and then run straight toward Landmo.
You know, this is one of those really unfortunate situations where Divisigns could easily finish this race in an hour 15 or an hour 20 and still have gotten completely randoed.
Ooh, P-Train trying to show us another hover across the ledge here. But he's just looking for a small key to be able to get back to Helmasaur.
I wonder how often that this... Oh my goodness, there's silvers right there, which P-Train might actually grab.
If he had gotten that hover, we'll see if he tries it again.
No, at this point I would be shocked to see another attempt at a hover.
Yes,
yep, so
same here.
P-Train is not going to have those silvers, which is unfortunate, but at this point, you know, how much more can you ask?
I cannot believe P-Train was that close to having a tempered silvers fight on this seed even.
Alright, so who's going to go ahead and put the GT big key really, really late to ruin the sub-hour seed? Honestly, I don't think that sub-hour is really feasible at this point, but we could easily see like a 105.
Yeah, meanwhile, DIVISIGNS is also making great progress. I mean, he's going to finish off his 4th crystal at about 43 minutes when he gets through pod here, but it's just that P-Train having that mirror, which led him to boots, is just that one extra check worked out so well to give him a huge lead here.
Hey look, it's the Ether Medallion we're not going to need at all. Yeah, Go Mode Pod in this instance being so much faster. Alright, so we have Helmasaur, 17 smacks on the noggin, and then with the Tempered Sword we could see 2 spins or spin 2 slashes, and yep, that's another crystal. Oh, of course Helmasaur dropped Quake. So at this point, I've got to shout out our tracker, GFE, who somehow just was able to keep up with all of that insanity for the first 30 or so minutes. Kudos, man. Pushing the buttons is not easy, and you had to push the buttons really, really fast. So awesome job there.
Yeah, this seed deserves hazard pay for the trackers, I think.
Amusingly enough, I just looked down and saw GFE make a comment about the tracking. I hadn't even seen that beforehand. And there's our big key. So yeah, at this point we have the rest of Eastern, which won't take long. We have the back of Desert, which will take longer to get to than to complete. And we have Go Mode Ice Palace, which is going to be slightly slower with Bombos. You're going to have to use Bombos for both Cold Stare and for that initial Freezor room, but still shouldn't take too terribly long.
So yeah, I would be hard to press to see this as a sub-hour seed for P-Train. It's going to be probably sub 105 though, without too much trouble, unless the GT Big Key is really trolly.
Yeah, and P-Train's probably thinking, hey, we're going to get a PB right here, because totally just skipped out on the big chest. and that would have been just a couple seconds. Now, the odds of it having an item are fairly slim since he already did pick up at least one there, but still, just decided it wasn't worth it.
DIVISIGNS also finishing off Pod over there. Again, finishing his 4th crystal and is going to feel pretty good about his position right now, but just does not realize how absurdly fast this seed could be.
I mean, honestly, with DIVISIGNS being one item away from go mode, there might be a little bit of that fear creeping in of, well, if P-Train somehow found that mirror somewhere and I don't, oh, that could be problematic, because there was really nothing that was too terribly out of the way, especially on DIVISIGN's sides, and he hasn't found the boots yet in Checkerboard Cave. But we are going to get an Ice Palace dip here, so we'll get to see what's in it. Oh, never mind. We're going to do flipper checks.
Yeah, and I think it just goes to show you, too, you know, if you watched any of the spoiler log tournament, those were almost always sub-hour runs, that if you find the exact right route, sub-hour is not, I say not that difficult. I've only done it once on a spoiler seed, but for really top-notch runners, sub-hour is not that difficult. It's just rare that you get to do it without looking at the log beforehand.
Yeah, this is still absurd. Yep, remembering that, wait, I've already done this. Muscle memory is a difficult thing to control sometimes. Hey, no surprise, we got ripped off by the fishy. 20 for 500.
Ooh, this might be a bad sign. DIVISIGNS might have picked up... he did pick up Quake off of King Helmasaur, right?
That is correct.
So I was afraid he might have been thinking about a Turtle Rock dip, but is going to head over into the desert area.
So this could be interesting, because DIVISIGNS could feasibly get the boots and bombos from this, should he check Agana afterwards and do Checkerboard Cave afterwards.
Still no mirror for Checkerboard, unfortunately.
That's right, good call.
But meanwhile, P-Train showing off some more very fast boss strats. The lesser used Ice Rod on Landmolus, but 2 shots of that will take down one of the big green worms just as easily as 2 Fire Rod shots.
Yeah, and half magic is just another amazing thing they were able to pick up along the way. This is absolutely absurd. One more dungeon left. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, the Ice Rod fight generally a little bit harder than the Fire Rod because the timing is very different, but...
I'm not terribly surprised to see P-Train do this real quick. It's a really fast thing to do. Make sure you have bombs and arrows, just because you don't want this to be ruined by, you know, needing arrows for the mimics or something similar.
Yeah, and especially you can, without the Fire Rod, he might be thinking about using Bow more often on the trip up the gauntlet, so getting that quick refill out of buying the upgrade is a good time investment here.
Yeah, honestly, between Bow and the fact that he does have Tempered Sword, the gauntlet shouldn't be too bad. It's not going to be fully ideal, but not terrible.
Yeah, I believe he was down to 12 arrows before he went in there, so...
Yeah, that sounds about right. Enough arrows to get by, but at this point, if you're in the go fast mode and you're not going to be checking a single darn chest here, you might as well hope for that early TT key, and just decide to grab him here. Not a bad call at all.
I just love watching really good runners when they get a jet seed like this and they know they're going for a PB, just the extra level of focus they get when they're in go mode for sure is just amazing to watch.
Yeah, we do still have the possibility of that far right side big key in Ganon's Tower, which would lead us to a very difficult bomb jump. I don't doubt P-Train's capability to accomplish it, but that's usually something that takes a couple tries for the vast majority of runners, partially because it's really difficult and partially because it's not one you often try.
Yeah, and it's really annoying. You have to bomb jump over a pit that's right next to a conveyor belt while one of those fireball things is shooting at you. And then light a torch, fall in the pit to warp yourself back to the start of the room, and then run through and light the rest of the torches really quickly. Even after getting the bomb jump, it's not totally free to light all the other torches in time.
Yeah, most definitely not. It's also a situation where you're doing it without the fire rod, which means you have to walk up to every single one of those um, torch areas and light it up, from very close, which does make it a little more difficult. Now, the cold stare fight is another thing that can kind of get away. P-Train does not have any invulnerability items, and cold stare does hit like a truck. Tempered Sword has the potential to make it easy, but you can also kind of bite off more than you can chew if you're not careful with those puffs in the corner. Not bad. They got away from him a little bit, but was able to clean up. Only took one hit, so. And as you can see, 4 hearts of damage, even with Blue Mail. That would have been a quick whoopsie.
So yes, chat's on top of this. Somehow at 50 minutes into the game, P-Train is on his way up to Ganon's Tower, so get your guesses in chat for the GT Big Key guessing game. 22 locations where that big key might be. And I, for one, am hoping for a 1 just to see how fast P-Train can get this seed done.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I normally wish for terrible things upon our runners, and I normally do it in an extremely sarcastic fashion. But I really want to see a 1 or a 2. So you went 1, I'm going to go with 2. I want to see small key, big key in that hope room. And just because of that, we're probably going to get tile room. Although tile room wouldn't be terrible, because I'm fairly... I don't know. Would P-Train check tile room before doing the bomb jump?
I would suspect we'll see Hope Room and then full left. That's a good question on the tile room.
I would imagine tile room first, just because if you do tile room, then you don't have to worry about the bomb jump. But then if you feel really good about the bomb jump, it would still be much faster to check those 4 items. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes when we get there, if we get there. Hopefully we won't get there. Let's get an early big key.
So DIVISIGNS did find that Bombos in Desert Palace, which is going to lead him into Ice, and still, unfortunately, further away from the mirror that he really needs to get into Swamp Palace.
Yeah, this is one of those seeds that honestly would have been far better as a standard seed rather than open, because then you would have been guaranteed that mirror right there, and you wouldn't have to worry about it. That is the one gripe that a lot of runners have for open seeds. It's kind of a, when do I check the escape area? And for this one, it was check it early, preferably before you get the Moon Pearl, set the Moon Pearls, your go mode, as ridiculous as that sounds. Alrighty, and we go on.
Checks 1 and 2 with just a small key for P-Train.
Alright, check 3 being another key of the wrong variety. Alright, just rupees so far. 6 still small key. Oh, come on. Yep. A little bit of happy slashes there. Really wants that early GT big key. Alright, Fire Snake Room. For those of you who saw match 1, this is where it was last time. For those of you who didn't, go watch that match. It was ridiculous. Not as ridiculous as this is proving to be, but ridiculous nonetheless. Alright, so 8, still no luck. Cyclone, since I know you're out there, this upcoming room here in just a moment is going to be your 11. If P-Train can... My goodness, this being a pain in the butt. Did he just...
I think he just did that, yep.
Can you intentionally do that, or was that just a frame rule that got lucky?
That seemed pretty intentional. That's pretty incredible.
How do you just casually do that? I've never seen that strat. Alright, 10 is a heart. 11's piece of heart. 12, 13. Darn it! Don't make us do this, GT. Come on. I don't know. If we would have had a Hope Room big key, this could have been close to an hour.
Yeah, we can definitely go back and compare later on how long his climb took. Although, you gotta suspect that if he had found that big key in the Hope Room, the palms would get a little bit more sweaty as your nerves just ratchet up that much more.
I mean, maybe. Some people aren't like that. Bob's chest not being helpful, so that's 14 out of the way. I think in this situation, P-Train is probably feeling really good. So it's kind of a pressure off sort of thing that you can just do for fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he does seem pretty dialed in at this point.
Yeah, I haven't seen a whole lot of mistakes that I would lean towards him perhaps having sweaty palms. 15, no, 16, no, 17. All right, tile room, here we go. Not having it going straight to the, So what's in this room that he might need?
He wants to just enter into the torch room from this door so that when he falls in the pit, he'll come back to this door a little bit closer to this torch on the right.
That makes sense. So he's going to go ahead and murder all the Gibdos, kind of get everything out of his way, so that, because what you really don't want is a situation where you make the bomb jump and then something gets in your way. Alright, so we have to line up things correctly. Dodge the Medusa, dodge the hand, drop the bomb, and jump over. So, good luck. It is not easy. Oh my goodness, first try.
Just nails that very nicely. Catches his breath there to dodges the wall master just barely. But now should be okay with the rest of this room.
Yep, fire shield again doing its job. That was ridiculous. You know, you made a comment about sweaty palms. I'm not sure that P-Train has sweaty palms at this point at all. He just seems to be automatic, I say, as he whiffs on a Samaria block. Sorry, P-Train, commentator's curse. I am going to laugh, though, if it's tile room after this. Come on, give it to us. There we go. 20. So, kudos to Mr. Stone, first person in chat to guess 20. Also, you are a jerk for wishing for a 20 on a seed like this, but it's alright. You were correct. Good job.
Yeah, P-Train's just showing off all of the GT strats here, really demonstrating his skill as a runner. This has been a pretty impressive run from him.
Yeah, this is absolutely absurd. We are going to get to see a silverless Ganon as he misses the Mimic by like 2 pixels twice. Oh boy, those arrows definitely helpful. Careful now. Alright, so you remember that comment I made earlier about sweaty palms? I'm sorry, I'll shut up now. Oh no, I think we're getting a Pyramid Fairy check from DIVISIGNS. And you know what? This would be... Oh, never mind. I was saying this would be a great time to check escape for the mirror, but he doesn't have the mirror, so it's not a convenient check.
Yep, quick dip into the safety room here for P-Train. Not surprising with the struggles he had there in the Mimics, but will be full up on health heading into the Gauntlet.
Yep, Gauntlet is about half a dozen rooms that are not fun. It wouldn't surprise me to see P-Train absolutely make mincemeat of them. Stupid BMO's getting in the way of his tossed throw there, but not bad overall. RNG isn't being terrible on this one, because sometimes you can get just enemy movements that are really not friendly.
That was a very nice on that 5th room of the Gauntlet.
Yeah,
and
very much.
Got the ice rod out. Got the ice rod out for Landmo too.
Little late, but did take out 2, barring what would be a really unfortunate quick hop here. Yep, should get just a 2 cycle there. Still pretty good, especially with the ice rod. Yeah, and poor DIVISIGNS checking Catfish. Oh man, really got randoed for this one.
And just the front of the seed was so loaded with stuff. They got Dark World access so early that it just never really made sense to head back into front of Escape. And sometimes you just get randoed. That's the way it goes.
Yeah, honestly, at this point, if DIVISIGNS does make it back to the front of Escape before P-Train.Duns, he's going to kind of have a moment of, oh, come on. That's not fair. Oof. Don't know if P-Train's going to be able to get... Nope, just going to wait for a reset. And yeah, some happy slashes.
Yeah, just barely missed getting that last torch lit in time. This is definitely a tricky room with just the lamp instead of the fire rod.
Yeah, the upcoming room is also not terribly much fun. It does look like we're going to have an escape check from DIVISIGNS, which is wonderful. At this point, let's just get him the mirror and get him going. And only going to have a go mode Swamp Palace, so still not a bad seed at all.
Yeah, normally you would expect that if you hit 6 crystals under an hour and then hit your go mode at 102 that you're in pretty good shape, but he's definitely nervous right now that his opponent found that mirror much sooner than he did, and he is unfortunately correct.
And Moldorm 2 adding some, salt to what has been somewhat of a salty end with GT Big Key being so late. A little bit of struggles here. Moldorm adding a head bop for good measure. And Moldorm is going to get deleted for his annoyance. And yeah, some more happy slashes. Hey, Vanilla Big 20. So honestly, the only thing that's going to make P-Train's item count not absolutely absurd is the 20 chests in Ganon's Tower that were opened. You know, I think that may have only been worth one. Alright, there we go. Not bad.
This also just goes to show you what ridiculous confluence of events you have to get something like a sub hour or anything under 110, because, you know, even this GT big key just being in the wrong spot adds so much time. And so you had to get the ridiculous seed before all of that, and then also a really fast GT to get a time this low. This is still going to be an incredible time out of P-Train, of course.
Yeah, you also had to make the right choices, because DIVISIGNS had a ridiculous seed too, and it was just because, as Ganon seems to give us a runaround of a bunch of things, something of aunts, uncles, fathers, cousins, former roommate. What does that make us, you ask? And the answer is clearly mortal enemies. Oh, that was unfortunate.
Yeah, and that's the other thing about these ludicrously quick seeds, as we've talked about. P-Train, not any safeties to fall back on, so very little margin for error in this Ganon fight.
Yep, fathers, brothers, nephews, cousins, former roommate. Alright, so I think at this point the P-Train can take one Fire Bat, because I believe those do 3 hearts on Blue Mail, but again, I might be mistaken. Deciding to play it safe here. Yeah, not going to get the double 1 cycle then because of that, but at this point it's kind of more important that you don't die. That was close.
Yeah, but he's through the second phase now.
Yep, for those of you who are unfamiliar with Silvers, it is going to be, with Silverless, I mean, it's going to be 12 spins once we get into that phase.
And make sure to get the torch glitch there.
Yeah, that is definitely something you want to get. Oh, that was close. Okay, one more shot and he is hurting. So, we need 11 more spins without taking any damage. Nope, that one was a little too late, so we're still needing 8 more at this point. And I can only imagine the P-Train is also counting them in his head.
Meanwhile,
go right ahead.
His 7th crystal there.
Yep, so DIVISIGNS will be heading up to GT. Oh, and there we go. Alright, just the 1x3 bridge to cross. So, if I were you, I wouldn't get your GGs in chat yet, so as to not jinx it, but I'm a little superstitious in that regard, so you can go ahead and get them in there now. Alright, so P-Train finishes in first with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 36 seconds. Yes, that just happened. And I can say the very next comment in the SRL channel is a .forfeit from DIVISIGNS.
Yeah, you got to think as soon as he found that mirror, he was nervous about exactly that thing happening, and then as soon as P-Train finishes that fast, then you know you just fell behind on that one check.
Oh, that was crazy. So, for those of you who like more rando and like ridiculous seeds and, yeah, want to see more, there's going to be a game right after this. I don't know if they have altered the starting time. I am taking a look. It does look like they've created another room in the SRL channel for the race 3, so I believe they're going to be starting shortly. So this is going to be a quicker than 6:30 start, which was their scheduled start for the next game, I believe. Oh yeah, also of note, this next seed is going to be Fast Ganon. That is the change that DIVISIGNS decided to make. So we get a Sword Assured Fast Ganon seed, which, if we get a similar layout to this, could definitely be done in under an hour.
Yeah, considering GT was the only thing that really slowed us down on this one, that Fast Ganon would definitely help us out.
All right, and Cyclone letting me know in chat that it is a 5:40 start time. So the runners have already 10 minutes into their race on their end of things. Because of the 20-minute delay, they're going to be starting in just about 9 minutes at this point on our screen. So we are not going to have interviews until afterwards, although I do have a few choice questions I want to make sure that are asked about this first seed, because oh my goodness, this was obscene.
So question in chat about Fast Ganon. So normally it's defeating Aga 2 at the top of Ganon's tower that opens up the hole in the pyramid so you can jump down to Ganon. In a Fast Ganon seed, that hole is open from the start of the seed, although you cannot damage Ganon until the crystal requirement has been met. So you do not have to climb Ganon's tower pretty much at any point. Or at least our runners won't have to. Sometimes you'll have to find progression items, but since it'll be a 7/7 Fast Ganon, you'll be able to defeat Ganon as soon as you could enter Ganon's tower anyway. So short of some ridiculousness like 3 swords being in Ganon's tower or something like that, our runners will not have to go into GT at all in that Fast Ganon seed.
Which, honestly, given the way this seed has gone, it wouldn't terribly surprise me to see that happen.
Yeah, this was just an absurd seed out of these runners. So to clarify, also 7/7 means, yes, as Trinex is saying in chat there, it's the number of crystals to get into Ganon's tower or to be able to damage Ganon. So starting in V31, there were options to make those variable. We have limited those options somewhat in the tournament, so our runners can just choose between the standard 7/7 or 6/6 just to make the seed a little bit faster.
Yeah, that is one of the minor changes we can have. And actually, because this is going to be such a quick handoff here, we do have one of our comms for the next race who's just going to come in here and join us so that we can just keep it going, since we don't really have a whole lot of time until this next race starts. So, welcome to the booth, Cyclone. How are you doing today?
What did we just see?
We saw effectively a spoiler log tournament race. Without the actual spoiler log. It's pretty much what we saw, yeah.
Yeah, that was probably the quickest go mode I have ever seen outside of the spoiler log format. It has to be.
It was so ridiculous. I couldn't believe it.
I don't even know where to begin with that. Like, everything just showed up, and that was it.
I mean, we barely had time to say, oh, they just need Fire Rod or Bombos for go mode, and then there was Bombos just immediately. It was ridiculous.
Absolutely. That was just... I can't even come up with words to describe what we just saw. I was just busy making clips. That Arg Annihilation that you referred to in the P-Train's fight against Argus, that nearly made jaws of the chat drop. I was in there watching. That made our jaws drop. And that great display of doing the right side of GT without the Fire Rod. Just absolutely sensational display by P-Train in that race. Definitely well-deserved win. This game 3 should be interesting.
Oh yeah, I'm now, honestly, at this point, I'm terrified for both of our runners, because after something like this, if I were running a second seed, my initial thought would be, all right, this one's going to take 2 hours at this point, because that's the way that Rando goes. But we'll see. We might have another fairly quick, at least reasonably quick seed. Again, I don't think that 2 hours is going to be feasible with Fast Ganon, unless, as Cool Papa Bell mentioned in the booth, we could have the potential of having something stupid like 3 swords up in Ganon's tower. Yeah, this could get interesting. So we'll see. My only hope for our runners is that we don't end up with a terrible seed to kind of balance the one that they were just given.
No kidding. Yeah, I'm still without words. But we do have the next race literally underway right now. We will have the next race coming up here live in about 6 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and bop back out for a moment. I'll let you guys do your wrap here, and then we'll have the next race in a few minutes here. So stay tuned for Game 3, everyone. I'll be right back here with you in a moment.
Alrighty, thank you for hopping in real quick. And to anyone who is in chat who is still here, stick around. This race is starting in about 5 minutes. You gotta watch this at this point. This is gonna be Game 3. It's gonna determine the winner of this individual matchup here. So yeah, definitely gonna be worth watching. I'm gonna be sticking around and keeping an eye on it. I unfortunately will not be calling the next race, but I'll be watching. We do have 2 great commentators coming in, so definitely be ready for that.
Yeah, after a 5-second finish in race 1, this ludicrously fast seed in race 2 between these 2 runners, Game 3, I expect, will be no less incredible to watch. Let's take this moment, by the way, to shout out both of these runners for putting on an incredible display. We sort of spent a lot of time focusing on P-Train, but DIVISIGNS was running a great race and also showing a lot of skill for us. Just unfortunately got the worst end of this particular seed. So if you've enjoyed what you've watched, be sure to give both of these runners a follow. They are putting out great content all the time. And also another shout out to GFE for tracking for us. That was a lot to keep up with on the tracking end of it. So thank you very much for keeping up with us there.
Yeah, light speed tracking. We didn't really have anything to talk about other than the race. There was very little downtime because we were getting stuff super fast, and then it was just talking about the clearing of dungeons. Look at that item collection rate, 114, and that is with, to my count, 21 items in Ganon's Tower opened. 20 to get to the big key, and then that last one, the post Moldorm chest. So if GT had been friendly, could have easily been under 100, which is absolutely absurd.
Yeah, I'm just at a loss. I don't know what else to say about this one except I just cannot wait for this next race to start.
Yep, and with that, we are going to go ahead and wrap up for you guys so that we can get this second race underway. So I am Hammer Bro. My co-com has been Cool Papa Bell 2282. Awesome co-comming with you. Definitely stick around and watch this match, and have a great night, guys.